How would you guys define gender?
Man and woman.
Wrong.
XY.
Oh, okay. Wrong.
Did you just translate what I said? You spoke in tongues. You should have went first, and I translated.
XY.
Now, would
Man,
you
woman.
guys hire protesters? If you needed a company that would bring protesters to the event, would you hire them?
Wait a second.
What should the church be doing about polyamory?
Hiring protesters. That's what I think they should be doing.
Welcome to the midweek 5-minute fix. Not 5-minute fix.
Whoa, 5 minutes.
That was a long time ago. David, Chalk Knox, loves this new camera angle.
I don't even know what it looks like.
It looks good.
Does it make me look
You look amazing.
manly?
Yes, very.
I think it added like 30 pounds on me.
It did add a little weight. It's a wide angle, so it's a little weight on it.
All right.
Make sure you guys, of course, share the show. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, listening to us on your podcast, YouTube, Periscope, Facebook.
Yeah.
Thank you very
I
much.
can't even keep up.
And thank you for joining the club. We've had actually been communicating with a number of people even in the last 2 weeks.
Those cross-politic club members.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Y'all
thank you.
doing it.
You guys going to make cross politic great again, or great,
Just
great.
It's great. Yes, man. And thanks to those of you who have already given us feedback on the Worldview Shotgun series.
Hey,
that's where I was going. Yep.
Is it up on iTunes yet?
So I got the email that it got sent to iTunes, and it's taken a couple days to go through iTunes. So it's.
Are you done?
It's not. I'm on their dime now.
Okay. You can. So if you're a member, you get free access to the first 10 chapters of the Worldview Shotgun series, which is explaining where we come from.
Yeah.
It's like kind of the DNA. It's the chromosomal makeup
of our theology,
of cross-politic,
of what's going on in our minds.
And if you're not a member and you just can't quite commit for some reason yet, it's going up. It's available. Actually, you can buy it.
That's right.
$9.99 on the
on
website,
iTunes
crosspolitic.com,
Yep.
and it's going to be available on iTunes very shortly. And you can buy particular chapters that you want
on iTunes.
On iTunes,
Yeah, not on our website.
Yeah,
you have to buy the whole thing on our website. And I just want to apologize to our people for our website. We're working on we're working on trying to figure out a solution for our website. Our website.
We need more cross-politic club members for a better website.
Exactly.
Is that what you said?
Man, seriously, guys, our website is got duct tape. You can't see it.
Duct tape all around
because I spray paint the duct tape black so it looks like the website. But we're working on our website. Our membership is totally secure. You can log in. That's fine. But it's the standard website that we're just. I don't know what else to say, but we've been doing this. Hey guys, we've been doing this for 2 years and building off our website, patching it together for 2 years. So
it's amazing. I mean, for duct tape, it's amazing. Yeah. And a big thank you to Gabe for doing that in the back end.
I should not be doing it. And if any of our club members or any of our people want to help, man, reach out to me. I need some website help, and we're trying to find a solution.
Yeah.
We also, in the next month or two, we're actually moving studios.
That's right.
We're going to move away from Grand American Piano Studios.
That's right, to a whole new spot.
I know.
I'm excited about that.
We're excited because we had one of our. I can't say his name, but we had one of our good friends.
You know who you are.
Yep, you know who you are.
MVP.
He's given us free space in his offices in a building that he owns.
It's very kind.
And everything. And so huge. Which brings us to another Trump story. We got to cover Trump every week. It seems like
I asked this last week. Can we do an episode
without Trump? We can't.
What did he tweet this time?
If you guys have followed, if you guys followed President Obama and his administration back in about, I think it's like 2009, 2010, he got on the White House steps and told colleges and said, "Hey, look, Title IX, you got to make room for the transgender people." In Title IX. So Title IX is a Department of Education regulation that basically requires gender equality at colleges. So you got to have the right amount, the equal amount of boys and girls sports. You got to have the equal amount of boys and girls scholarships, all that stuff. And he took it and kind of broadened it and reinterpreted it really to include the transgender community.
Isn't that piggybacking off of
the trans-confused
affirmative action too, though, so that basically was for minorities to be able to get inside of colleges.
So he's running the civil rights
play for the trans-confused,
and okay.
And then we won't get to this, but I just want to make the connection real quick. And then he said, "Hey, high schools, you need to have trans bathroom policies." So he said, "We'll take your federal money away if you don't have trans bathroom policies."
And there was quite a bit of backlash about that, right?
There was, but all the high schools nationwide eventually have done it. There might be a couple high schools holding out that I don't know about.
Not my high school.
Moscow, not Logos. No.
You know what? I bet they don't take no money from the man.
That's right. That's right. But there's schools in Texas that all the public schools in Texas have done this. The state of Washington. That's right. Amen.
Oh, man.
And so
your people.
Moscow High has transgendered policies, and they just don't talk about it.
Okay.
And so this is kind of an underlying thing.
So wait.
Anyway,
can a boy walk into the girl's bathroom?
At Moscow High, yeah.
Really?
It now.
Okay.
This is under the Obama administration.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with the public schools under the Trump administration and how they're interpreting Title IX now.
Yeah, it's probably still in play.
Or Obama's regulations now.
I think they're probably assuming that Trump's administration is not going to enforce it.
Yes. Yeah.
They're sort of assuming that he's probably not going to be coming at us like Obama would have. And so technically we've got it in the books to comply so we can keep taking the money.
Right.
So at the high school level, I mean, the question we asked this a long time ago on the show, what is it going to take for Christians to pull their kids out of public high schools?
Right.
What is it going to take? First it was
That's
removing
a good
prayer.
question.
Well, first it was like removing prayer, right? And that ruffled some Christians' feathers and everything. Removing the Bible.
No Bibles. No Bible.
And then now you can, have a Christian club on campus. It's like,
quietly.
And then homosexual curriculum in their curriculum, in their history books, sex ed.
Yeah, to middle schoolers, to
I'm gonna tell you what it's
trans
gonna
and
take.
Now
10-year-olds.
transgendered, trans confused. What's going to take?
Right, you can have boys in your daughter's locker room,
And they still let their kids go there.
Ooh, you want to get me mad? I got 2 daughters.
Right. So, if you're a Christian father with your daughter in a public high school, you're in sin.
Whoa! Because you got to protect. It's your job as a father.
You are not protecting your daughter.
That's right.
You're in a situation where a guy can walk into the bathroom, walk into the locker room.
Can I take it back a little bit? You were in sin before that even happened.
Oh, sure. But I'm just, I'm trying to be gracious.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to make it gracious, and I'm just going to say, for that, you are absolutely not protecting your daughter.
That's right. That's right.
And why are you sending your boys there?
Yeah.
To be indoctrinated, to be...
how are they going to learn to fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I brought this article up because the Trump administration is actually trying to change all this hocus pocus that's been going on.
Are they now?
I know, yeah. Trump having some sort of moral clarity or standard is weird.
Oh, man.
But anyways, and so they're wanting to basically define gender as biological, X and Y. So if you're this gender, if you're this biology XX.
We call them
XY.
chromosomes.
Exactly.
I don't even.
It was crazy that America has to do this.
Right.
And define, and we got, and Trump is sitting here talking about passing some sort of legislation or regulation to do this. It's insane.
Man, yay Trump. What do you think? I mean,
are you going to vote for him now, Knox?
He's like, the bar's not very high.
I mean,
he's like,
come on now.
There's boys and girls.
Let's just call them boys and girls.
XY.
Yeah, that's right. Let's just call them boys and girls. Let's say it the word.
Oh, no. No, President, we can't do that.
Yeah.
No. If I look at him, it's a boy. If I look at him, it's a girl. Yeah,
It's also like I'm on
Rachel
the side
Maddow, it's kind of interesting. But
that's a tough one. Yeah. It's like I'm on the side of gravity.
Yeah.
The world is round.
Yeah, and it actually...
Seriously, 2 + 2 is 4. That's what we're saying.
And I can't believe that this is actually a thing. Like, this shouldn't even be a news article. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just wanted to take my earphones off and walk away, honestly. Thank you, though. I mean, it's really making me think at this point, how am I thinking about Trump? Mm-hmm. I really have to think about this because...
if he's picking these fights, these weird fights.
Man, there's some things Trump says, I just really want to pull out the rest of my hair on my beard. But there's other moments like this where I'm like, you know what? If he's going to keep fighting like this,
right.
I feel like there's a way I can be in and then around and say no, yes, and help out a little bit by supporting. You know what I mean?
This is in the memo. It says this is what they're proposing. Language they're proposing. Sex means a person's status as male or female based on immutable biological traits identifiable by or before birth.
Is this in the social justice statement? Are you reading from like? Where are you reading that from?
This is in the memo that's circulating under Trump's staff.
So it's not like a Christian statement that they're
it's from Trump.
This is ridiculous.
It's from Trump. Wow. Right. The sex listed, I'm still quoting, the sex listed on a person's birth certificate as originally issued shall constitute definitive proof of a person's sex unless rebutted by reliable genetic evidence.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, some churches can't get it this good.
Wow.
That's exactly
Some churches that claim to be Christian are not this clear.
You know, Trump's going to make science great again. That's what's going to happen.
And you know what's going to be interesting? I bet he's going to get pushback from the evangelicals even on this too.
Some,
You know,
absolutely.
he's
so hateful.
Well, we're going to talk about a pastor here that'll push back on him soon.
Hateful.
Yeah.
This is a quote from somebody that's disagreeing, coming back from the other side. This takes a position that what the medical community understands about their patients, what people understand about themselves, is irrelevant because the government disagrees, said Catherine E. Lahman, who led the Education Department's Office for Civil Rights in the Obama administration.
Always piggybacking off the minorities.
Okay, this is the thing though, is she cites the medical community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely false.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that Christians, you need to understand. You need to understand this play. When people are citing the medical community, there are some hucksters for the medical community, some hired protesters from the medical community that will, you can pay them to tell you lies.
Yeah.
Right.
But everybody who actually practices medicine knows that there is a bedrock binary reality of male and female.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Everybody that does medical science and understands,
including my 2-year-old.
Seriously, including Donald J. Trump, knows that. And here's the thing: God, and this is going to sound just crazy.
Do I need to get the organ ready?
This is going to sound crazy. So it's a medical scientific fact that what your chromosomal genetic makeup is, male or female, XXXY.
I'm waiting for something deep. Go ahead.
Okay. It flows through the entire biology and physiology of a human being such that the way that diseases and sicknesses attack us, our relative strengths and weaknesses in our hormones and the chemicals in our body, and the way that we react to medicines is fundamentally different.
Wow.
There's a whole field called gender medicine.
Wow.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Gender medicine. You can look it up online.
Yeah.
And there are documented studies that demonstrate that if your body is a biological male body or a biological female body, and incidentally, there are no other kinds of bodies, just those two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It matters for diagnosing particular sicknesses, understanding the rate of growth of diseases in human bodies, and understanding how these bodies respond to various kinds of treatments and therapies.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This means that if some dude walks in a dress,
cross-dresser,
and checks female on the
in the emergency room,
the
clipboard,
the clipboard, right?
Yes.
Everybody knows the clipboard.
Yeah.
Female, and the doctor looks at him and sees the 5 o'clock shadow. And knows this is a
the
dude.
Adam's apple.
Knows this is a dude, and his voice is like a dude's voice.
Hello.
And he's wearing a dress, and it says female.
Yeah.
He's got a moral conundrum in front of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he shouldn't, but
he shouldn't,
he thinks he does.
But we are fast
He
approaching
has a legal conundrum in front of him.
massive legal conundrum.
Especially if he's in New York.
Yes. Well, but the thing is, so what are you going to do? He says he's female.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to treat him as though he's female?
Prescribe medication
and ask him questions about female anatomy, female.
When was the last cycle you had?
Exactly. How many pregnancies have you had, and so forth.
Right.
And then run tests and diagnose, assuming a female biology,
right,
and then prescribe medicine based on how female biology responds to various chemicals, or is he going to disregard that and say, okay, you're a female, and treat him as a male because he knows he's a male?
Right.
Is he going to and this can have life and death consequences.
Yeah.
It really can.
And the patient all of a sudden is going to sober up and be like, no. I'm biologically.
It sounds like we should give you a mammogram.
Right.
But you know what? I was thinking, as you were saying this, though, I was thinking about, I wrote down, CSS knows this. CSI. Like, they know this, right? Like, whenever they're doing detective stuff or they're doing something, let's say got a dead body.
Right.
Somebody finds a dead body.
Yeah.
And they're able to do all the biological work
Male
to figure out if
female.
it's, they're not going to say, oh, no.
We don't know.
Right.
Because there's
what does the driver's license say?
There is absolutely
That's
no
right.
scientific, objective evidence, medical evidence of anything other than male or female.
That's right.
Wow.
Even as a detective. If he has a crime scene.
I remember this when Vodi Bakum came out here a couple of years ago and gave the talk at the University of Idaho, Gay is Not the New Black.
Yeah.
He pointed out, he says, they're genetic markers. You can dig up a dead body and you can actually tell racial differences.
Yeah.
This is African descent. This is Asian descent. This is Anglo-Saxon, whatever.
Well, they're going to have a time with Rachel Dolezal.
But he said there is absolutely no gay marker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
I remember
nothing
that.
genetic.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as the trans confused. There's no trans marker.
That's right.
You can't do a DNA sampling and say, "Oh, this guy was trans confused."
Yeah, until we can scale emotions. Like, how did he feel about himself?
Yeah,
it didn't really matter, does it?
But even that is not medical. It's not scientific.
But we need to label it what it is. It's a mental disorder.
Right. Well, it's sin.
It's sin. But sin.
No, you're going liberal on me.
No.
It's not a mental disorder.
No. I'm saying these people are crazy. Like Romans 1 calls them. That's what sin does. It makes you crazy.
They're in rebellion.
Sin
Absolutely
makes people lose their minds.
Yes. Imagining themselves.
What you talking liberal? I'm Romans 1 on you, baby. What you talking about?
Hey, we did really good on this news article. We did great.
Imagining themselves to be wise.
Toby wants to finish.
They become fools.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amen.
If you're talking about that kind of
craziness
disorder.
How dare you think that I would think liberally about this?
Yep.
Now that's offensive.
That's
racist.
I know you're not really liberal, but I want our listeners and our audience to know
make the connection.
That insanity, medical, the craziness thing.
Absolutely.
It's rooted in spiritual realities.
That's right.
That's
and it
the
manifests
thing.
itself in physical reality.
Did you want to talk about anything else? There's nothing else to talk about.
We beat that dead horse.
I don't know.
No. Let's dig it up and find out what gender it is.
I'm doing well. All right.
Are you done?
Speaking of crowd mobs and morality coming from mobs and all that stuff,
we're talking about mobs. Your transitions. Trans confused.
Speaking of Toby and Knox. And Honduras and Texas and North Carolina. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right. So there's an article in California this last week where this Czech investor, Zdeněk Bakala, was that good?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
We have no idea.
He's just this U.S. investor. He lives in South Carolina. Well, there's this company in California that you can hire to do protests at whatever company, politician, organization that you want.
Hire protesters.
It's called Crowds on Demand. You got to Google it. Crowds on Demand. And it says they protest rallies, flash mobs.
Oh, there it is.
Paparazzis, events, and other inventive PR stunts. They'll provide everything, materials, ideas, and everything. Oh. So you don't even need to have the idea. You just need to be not happy.
You know what this tells me is that there's people with money.
There's a market for this.
There's a market for this.
Right?
And there's people with money who are hiring people to do this, and people are getting the idea, oh, there's demand.
Yep.
So let's start a company.
And it makes you think also, if you're viewing the crowds that show up, maybe you shouldn't.
Right.
Maybe you should make a...
So when you see the pictures of the protesters, how many of them were hired?
Yeah,
how many of those guys are hired?
You know what this reminds me of is the crowd that was hired by the scribes and Pharisees to demand the execution of Jesus.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Right.
Right. I mean, that wasn't just. I mean, that crowd was
all the witnesses most of the witnesses were hired.
This is something that fallen men have been doing for centuries.
Yeah.
In order to coerce government structures to do what they want.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they're doing. I mean, Pontius Pilate was wicked for turning Jesus over to them, but he was manipulated by that crowd, which was hired
by the mob.
By the Sanhedrin.
And so this guy's being he's suing for extortion. So apparently, Crowds on Demand has been harassing this guy, tracking him in South Carolina. He's on the board of Dartmouth College, the advisory board, and they've been tracking, following him.
That's good.
And so he said, Bacala.
Okay.
He said that they've trying to extort $23 million out of him, and that they would stop harassing me if I gave him $23 million. And I'm thinking all the organizations are out there that basically extort politicians. Or extort, legislation.
We're a country full of extortion.
Is this extortion wrong?
It's evil. It's absolutely evil.
I get that, but I mean, in the world that they're living in, is extortion wrong?
Right. Well, by what standard?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how they're viewing, because they have unions.
Right.
This is exactly what unions do.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to
That's
figure
right.
out, when is extortion all of a sudden? I mean, he's just getting a taste of what it's like to have a company, a large company in America.
Yep.
That's doing, it must be doing
What
pretty good for
unions,
himself.
well,
They want
associations.
don't nobody want $25 million from me.
Uh-huh.
So he must be doing pretty good.
Well, the other thing I thought about this was crowds on demand. I mean, they probably have a guy in-house who goes around and tries to find dirt on all sorts of people.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And I find dirt, my mob will come, my protesters will come and show up, will protest you, or you can pay us money and this will all go away.
Right. And this is in the list, by the way, in 1 Corinthians 6 that we frequently cite for sodomy and effeminacy.
Yeah.
Thieves, covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
This is exactly what John the Baptist told the tax collectors when they came to him and said, "What must we do?"
Yeah.
He said, and the soldiers. He said, "Collect no more than you're appointed to collect. Do not use your force.
Yep. Do
your
not extort.
Threats of violence to do injustice."
So how is our politics right now not a form of extortion? As I'm starting to think through this,
property taxes.
Yeah. Everything starts. This feels like
Full of
extortion all the way around.
Right. But this is what happens when you live in a Romans 1 world.
That's it. You bring up an interesting point, Knox,
Insane.
about
Right, we're
extortion.
insane.
And right.
But it's all about bribery and extortion.
We tied Trump into crowds on demand. That was really good.
Yeah.
I'm following you guys. I'm catching up. I'm catching up.
I see what you did there.
But, as we pointed out also with the Trump thing, the reason why we're in this is because the church is such a mess at the pastoral level and at the training pastors level.
Right.
Moody Bible Institute, just this last week, there's this
Moody Bible?
Yeah, Moody Bible Institute.
They train missionaries and stuff.
They're doing extortion?
I wonder, this is a theory, and I could probably get sued for saying this.
Hey.
But
write it down.
I venture to guess that Moody Bible Institute and Dallas Theological Seminary are almost solely responsible for a lot of our problematic pastors in the pulpit today.
Oh.
If you guys track Dallas Theological Seminary and all the pastors that they've trained in churches, I'm from Texas, which is where DTS is at. They have, they've had some great theological tradition there, but the fruit of some of the pastors over the last couple decades.
It's not just those ones. I mean, Wheaton.
Wheaton.
We connected the dots. Remember, with Covenant Seminary had a professor speaking at the Revoice conference.
That's right.
I mean, Christian seminaries and Christian colleges, are basically dragging the church down.
Yeah. Yep.
That hurts.
They get infected with money, with love of glory, academic pride.
Yeah.
All of it. They want to be. And there's this desire, I think, in every son of Adam, every daughter of Eve, to want the world's respect.
Yeah.
Want the glitzy glory glamour of the world. And you start making small, little compromises to begin with.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's a downward spiral there.
And here's part of the reason why we do what we do here in Moscow. So we have a pastoral ministry training hall called Greyfriars Hall, and it's attached to the church. It's connected to church. The elders oversee it. The elders, any graduate that graduates from Greyfriars Hall, all the elders are either saying amen or no, we don't think you're
Is there a website for Greyfriars?
Greyfriarshall.com.
We could Google it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Google Greyfriars. What happened at Moody?
Oh, so Moody Bible Institute, one of their graduates, he's 26 years old. He's a pastor, Pastor Brandon Robertson. He's of Mission Gathering Christian Church in San Diego. It's a Disciples of Christ Church. There's a video going around with him, I think, in a sermon that just got deleted this last week. There's a video going around saying, for those who are in open or polyamorous relationships here this morning, who might be squirming because this is an uncomfortable question to hear in the church sometimes, I want you to hear me loud and clear as a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. No, brother, it's the wrong gospel. Your relationships are holy. So if you're in a polyamorous open relationship,
it keeps going. It says they are beautiful and they are welcomed and celebrated in this space.
Yep. And that is not the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ that he's proclaiming. Right?
Question.
Oh, do you have a
question? That's anathema in Galatians.
Isn't Moody a Baptist setup? Is he Baptist? Isn't Moody Baptist? I think
they're evangelical.
Yeah, but that's Baptistic. I put that inside.
But they didn't ride that name.
Yeah, is this church Baptist church? You think?
This is Disciples of Christ.
Is this? Oh, this is not
Disciples
of
Christ.
What is this?
This is so he's a pastor of Mission Gathering Christian Church in San Diego.
So he's saying this at the ministry.
Yes.
I wonder.
In church.
So that's holy, but the babies I'm sure they're not baptizing them. They wouldn't
They
be
aren't
considered holy.
holy. They
Right?
aren't holy.
I don't know what they do.
Baptizing kids if you have
So-
children.
Knox
you
was
can-
just setting that up.
But I'm just saying, like, you can sit up here and say, oh, yes, your relationships that are clearly ungodly in Bible, that's holy. But you can't see in 1 Corinthians, like,
Yeah, he doesn't have
your
any.
kids are
Well,
sanctified.
the problem is
this
the
guy
problem
probably
is
has
Knox.
no problem with baptizing babies.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The problem is
You don't think so?
most
No, absolutely
Methodist,
not.
liberal,
No, absolutely not.
PCUSA,
Right.
liberal denominations will baptize babies
They will
because it's
baptize your
sentimental.
dogs. They will baptize
Yeah.
your cocker
Oh,
spaniel.
stop
They'll,
that.
they'll baptize your squirrel.
that's
you got a
right.
pet, you got a pet rat.
Yep.
Are you talking about pet communion?
They do that.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Serious.
Oh yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with
They
you
do
people?
that. This
So-
guy doesn't care.
Yeah.
Absolutely doesn't care. I mean, you'd like to be able to hold him up to
I
something.
wanted some standard.
No standard.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if he's, it's ridiculous. No, it's
So here's the thing. So now what? How do we get rid of this?
Well, I would.
The video's
I would
down. You think he
strongly-
repented?
I would strongly recommend not going to a seminary that's not connected to a church.
So you blame the
Stop-
seminary for his actions?
Well, they at least graduated someone who's a fool.
Yeah. I mean,
And by the time you have a graduate go through your school, you know him pretty well, and you should be able to know, hey, is this person called into ministry? Are they? I know their theological positions. I know who they are. You should be able to. That's
this is
the whole
the-
point of giving a diploma is because that school is saying, yes, this person's qualified.
right.
Yeah.
But, and here's the thing: going into the ministry is like, I mean, it's like going into Navy SEALs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like being involved in some kind of high intensity military exercise,
Yeah.
which means you're probably going to get shot down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you need to know, like pastoral ministry, like too many people have this idea that pastoral ministry is basically like, you get to sit down and have an indoor job with air conditioning
and read books all the time.
and read books.
Starbucks coffee hours is my favorite.
Yeah. Right. And it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's too many even Reformed pastors who basically assume that.
Yeah.
It's not that at all. You're going to be under attack. Just because you have a seminary program as we do, it is greyfriarshall.com, by the way.
Okay.
That's under the oversight of a local church. I think that's the best way to do it. Because of the personal connection and accountability. But the fact of the matter is you're going into war.
Yeah.
You're going into battle. The devil wants you dead. The devil wants pastors neutered.
Yep.
That's right.
Right? The devil wants pastors that are useless and worthless and are afraid and cowardly.
Yep.
And so, but that's not going to, like, an institution, an academy is not, it's just not designed to make pastors. It might be able to make a certain kind of academic, a certain kind of teacher,
Yeah.
but it can't make pastors.
Yeah, that's right.
Pastors need to be formed by other pastors,
Yeah.
faithful pastors. And so I would urge other men out there, if you're interested in the ministry, if you're pursuing ministry or whatever, you need to find a godly man who is a pastor and ask him to teach you.
Yep.
This is what Paul did with Timothy.
But,
Paul did with
but
Titus.
languages. How are you going to learn your
Yeah,
languages?
you figure it out. He probably knows them. And church should be able to reproduce itself.
Yeah.
You need to find a godly man who is fighting.
Yep.
Don't find a man who's making it.
Yep.
Find a godly man who's fighting, who's standing up, who exercises courage regularly, who calls out sin from the pulpit.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
And so let me end here. 1 Timothy, I was just reading this morning, chapter 1, verse 18. Paul's charging Timothy. He says, "This charge I commit to you, son Timothy, according to the prophecies previously made concerning you, that by them you may wage the good warfare."
Right. Yeah.
So Paul, he's sending Timothy out. He's charging Timothy. Timothy's pastoring a church right now, and Paul's shoring him up, encouraging him.
Right.
And he says, "I'm doing this so that you may wage good warfare."
And today that means something like saying, boys are boys.
Yeah.
And girls are girls.
So
And
you
I
said
believe
the
in
president
gravity.
should be a pastor right now.
I'm just saying, unfortunately, like, he's one of the best
Ouch.
Like,
Ouch. Stop.
like,
Stop.
examples.
No.
I mean,
No.
oh my gracious. I can't believe I
wasn't
almost
ready.
said that.
All right, so coming up on Sunday's show, we have Pastor Tom Askell,
Yes.
right, who is the
Yes,
author
we
of
do.
the Social Justice Statement.
One of the
one of
authors?
them, one of the
yeah,
lead authors.
Yeah. So we're going to have him on the show coming on Sunday. That's going to be...
Oh, that's exciting.
So get your questions ready. Go
right.
ahead and just start sending them to us now. We love to ask him.
Yeah.
On something. What else are we going to talk to him about?
I don't know, maybe Honduras.
Maybe Honduras. Yeah. Until next week. Oh, actually, until Sunday. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics. I'm excited.